Need to go ahead and get started, so if you please stand and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone. I'll call the meeting to order. Just a few reminders during the public comment section and any other time that it might be appropriate for anyone to speak from the audience. Would ask that you do it from the table with the microphone on it. Obviously we can hear you no matter where you are in the room, but we are recording these and they do play on TV, so we want to make sure that people watching online can hear everything. If you've got your phone or your iPad or your transistor radio, mute them, and so we don't have to deal with that. And with that, let me ask if anyone, well, I know we've got some things with the agenda. Did you want to address that, Brian? I only saw one change, but maybe there was more.
Yes. I think it was hold on, I gotta look at the
I know the amount of warrant, the number after the...
Yes, there is a change in the warrants. We had some technical issues last week with the internet. Right in the middle of entering data into the software we use, and that resulted in a double listing of some of the online payments we made. So it's not in the financial figures, but it's on this report. So we backed those out, and you see the correct amount. It's like $5,400 in some. Eagle Eyes at the Marion County Record helped identify that for us. We appreciate that. And so Janet made the correction.
Well, I'm confused because in the original agenda that I got, it showed warrants in the amount of $172,000.
Yeah, that was wrong.
But the new one is $217,000.
That was the first one's the wrong figure. It only included the check payments. It didn't include the e-payment on it.
Okay, so that's not reflecting that
No.
5,000 whatever. Okay, all right. That is, okay,
Additional.
but the 217,929.85, correct number. Okay. So that is actually was set out as a revised agenda. Is there anything else on there that got changed?
There was one, the approval of the minutes said March 7th on the original agenda. It's actually March 2nd because that was the last meeting. Small typo. And we put the revised agenda and, sorry, where'd the words go today? Anyway, it's online with the original one. So they're both on there, both files.
I didn't.
The revised still says March 2nd.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, it does. Well, it should be the 2nd, sorry.
Okay, so at this point, I would move to amend the revised agenda so that the minutes that we're going to be dealing with will be reflected as being for March 2nd. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Unanimous. All right. Well, then let's just talk about the consent agenda. Did anyone wish to go into any of the items there? Or if not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. That deals with approval of the minutes of March 2, the warrants in the amount I mentioned previously, and payroll in the amount of $48,318.70. With that, we are at the point of public forum. Anyone here who wishes to address the council about anything that's not on the agenda is free to do so by coming up to the table here now. There is no stampede to the table. I will assume that we have no one interested in addressing the council. Department reports. Can we start with you, Margot? Is it on?
Yes?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, yeah. But I can hear you whether you got a microphone or not.
I don't really need it. I've said this many times. Been working on, wrapping things up since I'm a month from retirement. So I've been working with Megan a lot. There's a lot of exciting new changes gonna happen with Art in the Park, thanks to Megan. So I'm really excited about that. It's all good. She's going electronic with the map, and we're gonna have entertainment. Gonna have like 4 different stages going with music, and it's gonna be a lot of good things. So looking forward to that. I spent a lot of time on that today, so it's, you know, just kind of working on things to pass on and wrap up, whether it's billboards or whatever. So.
How about with James? Are you guys coordinating
Yeah,
as well?
he was busy a day, I was busy a day, but another day we'll work on that too. And as things come up in our office, we deal with them, so.
Well, I know you've had some illness in your household, some serious and some serious but not as serious, but glad to see you back.
Thank you. Yeah, it was not the way it was planned. Took a lot longer than it was supposed to, but so came out all right.
Anyone else have questions for Margot? Can we go to the chief?
Nothing new with the police department right now. Everything's going good as good as it can be.
Aaron, I was driving out of town the other day, and well, there were 2 times. One, I was driving out of town. The other time, I was sitting there on Eisenhower waiting for a car to speed past me before I could pull out. Did you kind of feel like you just were going up against dealing with the state on trying to do something on that speed zone through there, that was a lost cause, or?
Yeah, I wrote a letter. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I'm pretty sure they're pretty dead set on it not being moved, and the reason that they don't want it moved is because they would have to change it on both sides of the road, something like that, and I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to get anywhere with that. They moved it, the eastbound lane, they moved it like what you had talked about a couple years ago or so, and that seems like that's as much as they want to do.
It wouldn't bother me as much if the fact the way it's set up really handcuffs you in trying to enforce the speed. Because you can't set up to run radar, really, at a spot that's going to do much good.
Especially when the speed limit sign doesn't change until west of Eisenhower.
Yeah. Okay. Just wondered.
I can try to reach out again, but I don't think it's going to get me anywhere.
Well,
who have you reached out to?
I don't know. Is Tim?
Joe?
What's his last name? Yes.
It is Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I feel like since that question was brought up, I feel like I want to explain this part. I don't want that moved so I can issue traffic citations. I know that there was some talk about that just around the community. So if people are watching and listening, I want people to know that that's not why I wanted that moved. I wanted it moved strictly for a safety issue, not to be able to write traffic citations. Yeah, it's speed trap. That is not what I was wanting.
Well, I'll back you up on that, because Aaron and I have had that conversation. The last thing I want to be is the city that everybody thinks of as a speed trap, that we're trying to make money from municipal court. That's baloney. But that's a dangerous situation. And the fact that Hillsborough, they got you running 30 miles an hour from Canada on in.
If only it was a county road right there, then we could probably get that changed. But since it's state,
Yeah.
so it's making it difficult.
Well, yeah.
I just thought it was an issue because not only cars, but you got golf carts coming out of there, and they max out at 15, 20 mile an hour, and if you have people coming in at 55, 60 mile an hour, that's not going to be good.
No, it's not.
So, but I can definitely try to reach out again and see where it'll get me, but
Well, since it's your head that's been smashed against the brick wall, I'm okay with you doing that.
All right, I can do that.
Anything else, Aaron?
Since we're talking about that, I still, just to give you guys an update, I still need to get somebody, there's been a lot of stuff going on. I still need to get somebody to come out to check our radar trailer. So I apologize, I have not been on that. But that is still on my list to be
Is that-
taken care of.
Officer Blinky, is that,
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
that's the one.
all right,
So, but that's all I've had.
thank you.
Good.
James, we got you on here 3 times.
Yeah, I'll just make this real quick, real short. I'm dealing with the solar system in the community. We visited with them, told them they needed a permit, they needed an inspection, but have not seen them, so they must need it in writing. So we're working on that, and also working with the fire department with some training this week. We're looking at solar systems, how to shut them down, generators, and battery backups, and also probably take a look at CT metering and how that's not going to shut the power off. So, and that's all I got.
Thank you. Tim,
I have nothing really new since last week.
question. Do you have in mind a time, or is it just gonna be when the weather allows it on starting to do the water meter stuff?
Actually, we just got our shipment in today of, I think, is to be the last of it. So, and then we'll have to schedule getting put them in.
Do you have a clue, like, okay, you're gonna go to Zach's house and replace his water meter? How long does that take?
Some can take 10 minutes, some can take an hour. It just depends.
So this is gonna be basically probably an all-summer project then, does that make sense? Or
Well,
that-
it was originally supposed to be contracted out.
Oh,
And so,
I did not know that.
yeah,
What
there's,
happened with that then?
what's that?
You said it was contracted out?
There's money, Mark left money to be contracted, put in, so they could get it done in like 30 to 60 days instead of dragging on.
Have we got somebody?
Well, we believe we have somebody, but because we didn't know when all the meters were gonna arrive, because they weren't real committal on how we'd get those, we didn't go ahead and schedule anything yet. And we didn't figure it was worth scheduling until we had everything in-house, which now we do today. So he'll reach out and, they're pretty good at it from my understanding. So they'll come in with the team and they'll just start working it. So as soon as we get some dates set, we'll get some information obviously back to you and online. And the schedule put out for where we believe they'll go through town to do it. So we get some people some advance notice. And
Yeah,
we might even door hanger, you think?
When we did it last time, we didn't, because it was really minimal. Go up to the door, knock,
Okay,
nobody's home, we change it out.
let's go ahead and do
move
it.
on.
Okay. So, yeah.
We can do it either way, I
Cool.
mean, whatever you want to do.
We're closer
Anything
today
else?
than we were yesterday.
I think it would be something wise to just at least put out on Facebook or
Yeah.
put in,
Yeah. Well-
city bills, just in case people have, dogs to put away.
Yeah, as soon as we get
Kids to put away.
the date estimate, we'll put it out. Utility bill, of course, is a great way to go since it's water related.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get any kind of idea when they're gonna start, we'll start pressing it.
Well, it did, it went really well on that Coble Street project, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize it's a different kind of thing, but
So this is a bigger scale, but I think we can get the word out.
Stephen,
Just been doing routine maintenance.
don't you want, who's gonna talk about what you've been doing? Okay, Brian's gonna
I'll
talk.
brag about it.
Okay.
He's being quiet, shy, reserved.
Janet? Nothing? Administrator report.
Okay, part of the routine maintenance that Stephen was talking about is that he and other team member Dwayne Garrett are replacing, or have replaced, the hot water heater in this building. There should be hot water in the 2 bathrooms behind you today, or even a couple days ago. And they're working, well, as part of that, they've replaced some of the water line in the building. Places where it had been repaired in the past started falling apart when they started working on it, so they've been upgrading that. Part of the line is pretty corroded, and it's a 1-inch water line, and he said you probably couldn't even put a pencil through it. So they've been working on that. We won't get all the water done because it's just the hot water line they're working on. But we should have, I think Wednesday, there's another component coming. And they'll be working to get hot water up to the bathrooms upstairs next.
And I think
And the
it's already in the
should be-
kitchen, right?
Kitchen should be good too right now, yeah. So, we're on the way. They're doing it in-house, so we save some money there. We'll still look at the contractor to do the cold water lines and the rest of the hot water that they couldn't get done.
I'd
in the
really love
future.
to, I told Stephen today that if they get a chance on one of these to bring a piece of that pipe, I'd like to see just how nasty that was.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm not drinking anything until they tell me they're done with the project, I'll tell you that.
So, that was my lone thing to give you at this moment, unless there's questions.
That was it?
Yeah, well, there's plenty coming up in the meeting here, so.
Last month, or last meeting, the council member concerns and comments had been moved down to the bottom, and then this time it got moved back up. I'm just curious which way you guys prefer it. That important
Makes
to
me
you,
no
huh?
difference, yeah.
Okay, well then, Amy, we'll start with you,
I don't have anything.
okay? Zach?
I'm making a small list here. Do we have an update? Last time Tim had brought up the repair of that playground equipment, the tire stuff. Do we have an update on that?
We applied, of course, for that grant, didn't happen. We just need to find the money and identify, we got the piece identified where we can get it that'll fit
Okay.
and get it ordered.
Okay.
Did-
And then,
Did you want to address or maybe you're going there, the merry-go-round?
that's what I was gonna hit on it since
Oh,
you
yeah.
sent it out in your last one. If you wanna touch on the merry-go-round,
Absolutely.
we know about it, but if you'd like to just provide everybody an update on it.
Sure.
that'd be beneficial.
Marion Manufacturing is working on the replacement part for that. They've ordered the materials. And then when the materials get here, they've asked us to bring the merry-go-round down to them so they can do all the welding and everything and get it completed. The hope is to have it in here, maybe by May, or at least before school's out.
I asked Brian if they could make sure it's done by Chingawassa days. And I think, didn't you tell me that that was okay with Tim, or did I dream that?
No, I think it's possible. As soon as Marion Manufacturing is done, and we have dry weather, we'll, get it planted.
I think that'd be, obviously, if we can get it done by the time school's out, that's a great goal. But, man, if we had it back up for Chinga, that'd be
Yeah.
outstanding.
It's about, 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
I think? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is the goal. Get it back for his 100th year, I guess. So,
101 now at this place.
yeah,
I think those are the only couple things I had.
okay.
I don't really have anything tonight, so we'll move on to Mr. Case, who I think played on that merry-go-round thing the 10th year it was in operation.
Talking about the one with
Yeah,
yeah,
that one. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, you guys should all have a handout that I brought over today. And I'm not gonna read through my cover letter, I'll just hit the highlights. The highlight is that Case and Son and EMC have delivered dividend checks to the city of Marion for 19 consecutive years totaling $236,235 for an average of $12,433 per year, including this year's check, that's the big word, this year's check, in the amount of $13,218.44. This is the first time we have ever delivered the dividend check before the renewal date. Don't ask me why, it came today, came in the mail today, it's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, I hope that doesn't mean that this is the last business they're gonna
You never know,
have.
that's why I sat on this side today, 'cause you never know what's gonna happen. And a lot of this, I told you the same thing last year, we're still in what we call a hard market in the insurance industry due to all the stuff that COVID provided us, and on top of that, this cycle of severe weather has not ceased, as we all witnessed yesterday. I'd call that severe. 60-mile-an-hour winds for 12 or 13 hours sustained is pretty severe. Good news is that EMC has not raised your deductibles for this renewal. They will remain at $2,500 all peril except for wind and hail, which will carry a $10,000 deductible. That's the good news. The bad news is your total premium has gone up about $25,000 from last year. About $5,000 of that is due to the buildings out at the airport. I don't think they have looked at those buildings for years. In fact, I can't remember the last time they have increased the coverage on those buildings out there, but they obviously have looked at them and reevaluated them and increased them all by quite a bit, which they probably need. Statement of values on the rest of the property has increased a little over $2 million for inflationary purposes. And the other main item of increase is the business auto, which has gone up a little under $4,000. Most of that is due to the addition or replacement of city vehicles. You do have another, oh wait, I better give somebody this check. I got this in here. Who wants it? Mayor?
Give it to Brad.
you.
Did you want a photo opportunity?
And I don't need my photo taken. So there is an option too, and I put that in here with some scribbles on it. You could save a little over $16,000 a year if you opted to go with a higher deductible. And when I say higher, much higher, you'd be looking at a $10,000 all peril deductible with a $50,000 wind and hail deductible. You don't have to be really good at math to figure that if you had one serious wind or hailstorm, you would not be money ahead by going to a $50,000 deductible. So Brian and I talked about this and both agreed that we would not recommend that.
Casey, the 2,500 on the, it's what we have now. Is that per incident?
It's
that
per occurrence.
Okay.
So if we have a lightning strike and it knocks out a bunch of stuff, and we had a claim on a siren a couple of years ago, we got knocked out by lightning.
So the option would have gone that, bump that up to 10,000.
Right.
And which is not that big a deal either way, but the 50 versus 100, or excuse me, versus 10 is what you're saying may not be worth it because of the risk of one major whatever.
Yeah, well, even the 2,500 to the $10,000 deductible, if you save $16,000, that's basically two claims. You're getting up $7,500 in deductible, so two claims would eat that up. But yeah, the $50,000 wind hail, that'd be a pretty big pill to swallow. So.
You guys saw, I think Brian must, well, it's in our packet, yeah. The total fee is
159, 134.
versus 142, right?
Right.
Yeah. So 17,000 difference there.
Now,
Okay.
you do have what's called inland marine coverage, which covers you talked about the big radar sign. That's covered under there. That would have a separate $500 deductible on the inland marine, as long as your street sweepers and those kind of things.
Okay. Any questions? Are you done? I'm sorry,
That's really all I have, unless you have questions.
You asked about what we paid for the current year's insurance thing?
yeah.
$133,572. So the increase to the option one is 19.1% expense, and then if you went with the larger deductibles, the increase is 6.7%.
Most of the other coverages went up. I mean, your liability went up $1,600. Your linebacker went up about 1,500, and the law enforcement liability went up about 1,100.
I saw this today and was looking over it. I have to admit, my first thought was maybe we ought to look at increasing the deductibles, but maybe there's a reason why Casey's in the insurance industry, because he makes a good point with regard to it wouldn't take much to be penny wise and pound foolish. Okay.
And I shared with Brian that, and I shouldn't even say this, but I can't remember the last time the city collected on a wind hail loss. But the time we decided to raise the deductibles and take on more retention, here we have the big one.
Yeah.
So,
Casey, do you know how often, let's say on anything that's not the wind hail, how often we've submitted a claim on, like it's the $2,500 deductible?
you know what, I should have, I can do a loss run, I didn't do that. You guys have a really good history, except for one incident. I mean, there have been claims over here and there over the years. Like I said, the siren is one I can remember. We've had several auto claims over the years, most of them with police vehicles. Not the police's fault, but, you know, the police vehicles have more exposure than other vehicles. That's why the premiums are higher on them. When I could run a loss run and send it over to you guys, give it to Brian if you want me to, just so you have an idea. But your experience has been pretty good.
When do we need a decision on whether we want to change anything?
April 1st is the renewal date.
Okay, so tonight. Okay. I'm not gonna make any motion to make a change.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve, the insurance renewal with the $2,500 and $10,000 deductible.
I'll second. Oh, Amy second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously.
You could have just said option one.
I want to make sure that we're super clear.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, and you guys all know where to find me. I'm not that far away. And
Casey, you are welcome here anytime you bring a check.
And you can sit on either side of the room.
Yeah.
Side.
yeah, you baited me into it at Kiwanis today. I told you I had a surprise for you.
I did a happy dollar at Kiwanis because I said I was going to grill Mr. Case tonight.
I think you're pretty nice.
Oh.
He said he's coming with a check.
Oh, he makes up for it in other places. Oh, and one last thing, you talk about not being able to hear Margot. We heard her from Jamaica one year.
There's got to be a story there.
Nikki and I are sitting in Jamaica on a trip, and from across the room, we heard this cackle. She's almost did it. And it's like, oh my God, Margot followed us over here. This woman, I didn't think it was possible. This woman sounded exactly like Margot.
I thought you were going to say it was some big parrot or some kind of bird.
All right, I'll leave you with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
again.
Thank you.
Casey.
Brian, we'll move on to item 10, the library trustees.
Yes, before you, there's two nominees for trustee at the library. First, Marcy Kane to serve on the library board for 4 years to replace Sherry, the butcher of the last name.
Padgham.
Padgham, thank you. Her first term will end in April 30th, 2030. Also, to reappoint Mrs. Stubenhofer May to serve on the library for her second term, her term also ending April 30th, 2030.
Speaking to Zach and Amy, my intent would be to comply with that request unless either of you have objection. Very well. At this time, I'll appoint Marcy Kane to the library board for a term of 4 years, replacing Sherry Padgham, and reappoint Misty Stubenhofer May for a second term, which will end on April 30 of 2030. Both of those terms will end on April 30th, 2030. Is there, I'll make that a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Back to you, Brian.
Okay. We're back to the City of Marion refuse collection fee recommendation that we brought last meeting. One note is to let the public know that by doing the increases here, we're keeping the service in our purview, the city's purview. It'll be the same service you've had, same service you kind of expect and rely on. This will be a cost recovery effort to maintain our cost recovery over the next 5 years.
We did have that discussion and had the representative of Nisley, I'm not sure, Nisley Refuse, not
Nisley Brothers Incorporated,
Nisley Brothers
yeah.
Company, and so we probably, just to note for the record, that if we make this change, we are deciding, at least at this point in time, not to consider contracting it out. On the agenda for discussion last meeting, it's a 3% per year. Is that right, 3%?
Yeah, it's $5 for the rest of 2026.
Right.
Then it's 3% per year, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31.
And then it automatically, the 3% terminates at that time, and then council at that time will have to decide.
Revisit it at that point, yeah. Commercial is gonna go up $6 per dumpster, and with the same 3% over that time.
Any discussion? Talked about it last time. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the refuse service rate increase of $5 for the remainder of 2026 with a 3% increase through 2031.
I'll second that. By way of discussion, I just think it's worth pointing out, there had been zero increase. It's been stuck at the same level for 10 years. And go look and see check anything of what it was selling for 10 years ago versus what it's selling for now, or even 5 years ago. And this budget is too tight for us not to at least have our rates on utilities in the ballpark of other cities, other institutions. I don't want, it's not that I'm going to be proud of, oh, look, we're the highest for everything now. That's the last thing I'd want. But if we're going to take care of the streets and the alleys and the water system and all the other things we have to do, we have to at least charge rates that are comparable to others. So unless somebody else wants to make a speech.
No,
Okay.
I agree with that.
The motion is to accept the proposal from the city administrator for $5 for the balance of this year and 3% per year increase through 2031. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? Ayes have it unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, James. Let's talk about animals. Before you get started, I just point out to council that this is an information. It will be at some point in time on for discussion, for action, but tonight it's simply.
The O'Brien family came to me, was asking about a property down off 3rd and 4th Street. And I'll show you the location here. property right here. Let's see if I can zoom this up some here. So this was property here. The lady previously had some horses back in here and some other animals and stuff. She's selling the property. The O'Briens came to me, and I'm like, well, inside the city limits there is a city code, no keeping of animals, and that was in the packet also. But as I was digging around, there's a portion of that that is zoned agricultural. And let's see, that would be right here. This is the property here on the, right in here. This is the property here. The conditional use permit would go away with the change of ownership. That's what the pink is. The green is zoned agricultural. There's a little section of low density residential. This property comes down and circles back around like that.
Kind of just, so the zoning is shown over on the other side of this, but the part that we're dealing with is just that.
Right in here.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
In reading the zoning, animals like horses, goats are allowed in the agricultural district. So there was a conflict there. I reached out to Brian Bina. Brian Bina recommended approach the council, that O'Brien's approach the council seeking a variance to the keeping of animals inside the city limits. And they wrote out a request. They're not here tonight. They couldn't be here. They will not be here until April. And they will address the council at that time also. With this, I would have two recommendations. One, the council limit the amount of animals if they choose to grant a variance. And the second recommendation is we treat this like it was a Board of Zoning Appeals variance request, and that we notify everyone within 200 foot of this property right here, notify them by certified mail and of a hearing, and that they could have their opportunity to come and say, so that there was no surprises to anybody if the council grants a variance to this.
How much land is that right there? Like, how many acres, do you know?
Was it 6 or something like that?
The entire property come to probably a little over 6 acres, but if you take out the residential section up here, I come up with a little over 5 acres.
Should this be going to planning and zoning before it comes to us?
If it was a variance request for the zoning, yes, you're absolutely right, but this is a variance request for the city code.
I guess I'm not following there, because it's zoned. You said the part that's zoned agricultural, we don't have to worry about, right?
But it is inside the city limits, and the keeping of animals is in for the entire city limits, whether,
okay.
no matter what it's zoned.
Okay.
So there was a conflict there.
I see.
Brian, excuse me, James. When I read the packet, and I'm not going to be able to pull it up, but the gentleman his proposal had some limitations on horses, right? On the number of horses.
Yes.
And I didn't even see goats, but when I talked to you.
They talked to me about goats. and
Oh,
stuff, so.
okay. But are goats mentioned in the proposal that we're dealing with here?
I don't recall. I don't recall if it was mentioned in there.
I have no idea. It seems like every time I've ever seen anyone with goats, they have a lot of goats, but that's purely anecdotal, so who knows? But is there, you said you think we ought to have some limitations. Did you have something in mind?
I just did some quick research and stuff like that on the internet, different Kansas municipalities, and like Newton has a limit, and I put that in the packet also of what Newton's, and there's other towns around Kansas. that have already been dealing with stuff like this here, and, you know, I know that if you keep too many animals on a piece of ground, then there does become issues with smells and things like that, because you have to remove the manure.
Okay, I found what I'm sorry, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, I was gonna say, I saw that they're wanting to allow potentially up to 10 horses on that property, and then normally 4 to 6
Right.
full-time on about 5 acres.
Yes.
We're not making any decisions tonight, and so I don't know if this is as relevant, but they reference that they operate, I don't remember where I saw it, it's not in this letter, but they operate the C Arrow, the letter C, Arrow, stables. Yeah, it is in the letter. In Mays. Well, my son-in-law's on the Mays City Council, and so I thought, well, you know, I'll just check with him and see what he says. And his response to my text is, Sea Arrow is a very popular option for folks in the equestrian world. I've heard nothing but great things about them. It seems like they are one that sets the standard. And then he got into their daughter wanted to ride horses and whatever. My thought was, if this is going to be, and we can ask this when they get here, if this is going to be something that you can bring your grandkid here and book a time for him to go ride a horse, or you can come stay at the Elgin, and in addition to looking at our Rhino Trail, you can take the kids out for horseback riding. This might be of economic value to the community.
Well, and also it states in there, they're gonna offer, like, different kind of plants and gardens, and, I mean, if you've driven past my house in the summertime, you know I'll be it's gonna bring people in. And also, I found that interesting that, they're not certified, but they have specialized training, from Heart Springs in Wichita, which helps with kiddos that have, diverse needs and special needs mom here. I think that's fabulous. So I think there could be a lot that they could potentially bring to the community.
It would be a different deal if they were wanting to it's an appropriate location to ask for this. I'm not saying how we're all gonna vote or whatever, but it would be different if they were right in the middle of town or something. Okay. Anything else on this? Well, yeah, I do think there is more than, I think we should instruct staff to do the notification that James is recommending. I mean, I think if you're a neighbor,
Right.
yeah, it's appropriate to let you know that this is going to be considered. And we can, the other part, in terms of whether we'll go along with what they want or say, no, you can't have more than 8 horses or whatever, we can decide at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
Does anyone object to, okay. I'm looking at you, and I'll let you guys arm wrestle over who does it, but I'm guessing it'll be you. I think, yeah, it's your recommendation, but I think it's a very wise one that would give notice.
That way someone doesn't come up and say, hey, I didn't know you guys were doing this
Yeah.
here. You have your opportunity to come in and talk.
Absolutely. And you thought that the next meeting is April, whatever the first?
April 6th.
Is that when you think we should deal with this?
I think that Brian's were wanting to come in April. I'll find out for sure. I think it would be good if they just come and ask you guys, and then you guys set a date. And then we have a hearing on it.
Zach and Amy, the one thing do we want, if we're gonna treat this as if it were an actual hearing on a variance, a specific hearing, and I think back to when we did the 5 properties and a part of a regular council meeting. And I think if we ever do that again, I would like to do it as a special meeting with just that on the agenda, because that really bogged down the council meeting. How do you feel about this? Are you okay just adding it to the council meeting agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're good. Find out, doesn't matter to us whether it's the first one or the third one.
And I'll reach out to him.
Okay. And I guess you're staying up there because we've got the fee recommendations that we discussed last. Brian, are you gonna take that?
Yeah,
or James?
yeah, there are a few recommendations for the permitting office functions that James performed are on this presentation. There was a request at the last meeting to see what the base fee of 25 plus a $3 per 1,000 or fraction thereof versus the $4 per 1,000. And the price breaks in his samples are included on there. In the packet, it shows the $3 and the $4 comparison. So it puts us closer in line with our neighbors to the west.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna make this more complicated than I should. Going back to the previous agenda item, Brian, could you, whenever we end up setting that for the discussion of, and possible action on the horses, could you ask if Darren Neufeld, in the capacity as city engineer, could be here?
I will do that as soon as we know when they're coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, folks.
Okay.
Do you want a second to look this over with the amended numbers?
Are you talking to us?
Yep. You're the only two that count?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to have a discussion about it. or
Okay.
Whatever we wanna do with it.
All right, go ahead.
To who? Me?
Yeah, I thought you said have a discussion.
I don't know if you're going to James.
confused down here.
I'm talking to you, man, the floor is yours.
All right. I like the $3. I like the 25 and the 3. It seems like it puts us, kind of right smack in the middle of everybody. It gets us, I think it probably comes closer to covering our cost of inspections with James. I'm not gonna say that it does it entirely, but I think it gets us closer there without being over the top.
I agree. I think it kind of, again, like you said, it puts us in the middle. We're not tippity top, but we're not also the bottom dog either, so.
Well, and I really like, Zach, that your point about our costs. This is not just a revenue generator. I mean, it generates some revenue, but this revenue is offset maybe 100% by the various costs we have in enforcement, but the enforcement's necessary, and I think every vibe I'm getting is that people like the way things have been going with cleaning up the town, and so that's part of the enforcement.
Yeah.
And also, you know, make sure people are doing things right. That doesn't hurt either. Is that, Amy, did you have anything?
No, all right. I already said my spiel.
Did you have a motion, Zach?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the permit fees. If I just say as highlighted yellow in the packet, does that cover it? Cause it's, I mean, we've got the base fee plus $25, but there's also some other random ones in there as well.
The yellow ones are the only ones that were revised this time. The rest remain. There was a couple other categories. They remain the same.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Without any further discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. I appreciate the way that James, you and Brian did this. It's just really helpful to look at where we stand with regard to others, and then the fact that you didn't want to die on the flag of $4. I think I like this much better.
think it's something that we can work with. It'll also help with code updates, materials, things like that.
City Code Committee update.
Yes, in your packet, there's an explanation letter, and there's another letter attached to that. The Building Code Review Committee met on February 18th. There was 2 questions asked at that meeting. The first was there was word that the state might be looking at changing the building code for the state. They currently use the year 2006. They don't have an IEBC, just the IBC.
State Fire Marshal.
State Fire Marshal's Office, yeah, excuse me. And so there is activity in the legislature maybe to update that this year. Their feeling was it's more likely to happen in 2027. And then they're going to have what they're calling their, where'd that go? Sorry, just a second. Get the right, I want to say it right. Custom Kansas Code, they're working with the Building Code, National Building Code Committee to get that done. They don't have a year of what they're going to go to yet, but they are going to modernize it from the current 2006. I think they're probably got in mind the idea that the 6-year recent codes make a difference in the insurance premium rates for the IOC. What's the?
ISO, right?
ISO, thank you. Yes, lots of initials. Insurance Service Organization ratings for communities. The other question was, what would be the impact to changes, let's say, in code or in permits issued in 24 and 25? There's a summary of that by the different ones. Like, for example, building permits for 2024, there was 29 permits issued. 1 permit was pulled by a local contractor, and the project had an engineer and an architect. And then there's 1 permit for a remodel done by an out-of-town contractor, not from Marion. So I think the question mostly was from the committee of 12 is how would it impact our local contractors? Vast majority of the work's not being done locally by Marion businesses, although there is some. And then if you read all these samples here, a lot of the instances modernizing the code was going to have little to no change for those folks on those particular permits. That said, we sent that information back. No new questions popped up, but we did decide to do a survey, anonymous survey, of what code year do the committee members prefer. We asked if they preferred 2024, 2021, 2018, or 2015 and older. They're allowed to say yes on more than one. As you see there, there's the results. Code year 2024 was 67% yes to support that code, 33% no. The year 2021 code was 50-50, half saying yes, okay with it, half saying no. Code year 2018 was 22% desiring to have that, 78% said no, and 0% wanted to have 2015 or older. We also asked which codes would they like to enact that we don't currently have, and all 4 of those had a majority saying yes. The only one that was close was the International Private Sewer Code, which was 55% yes, 45% no.
Why would we adopt the private sewer code?
If there was somebody putting a septic system inside the city limits that could not hook up to our sewer, that would be the code that we would use to, for that system.
Is there anywhere that would even be?
I
don't know.
I've checked
I'm
around.
just curious.
I have checked around. I've been told that there's no private sewage systems inside the city limits.
I mean, that would be my thought. But.
Right.
No, actually, there are, if I'm correct, over on West Main Street, there's 2 that are not connected.
Oh, yes, that's right, there is a couple.
Yeah, there's 2 that are not connected to the main sewer system, partly because of the costs involved to put in pumps to get that to a gravity feed. So they're technically in private at that point. And then also the airport uses a septic system out there. So that's the 3 I'm aware of.
We don't have any, we don't have anything that prohibits a septic system without, like if Amy decides she want to put a septic system in her house, she can just do it, we don't have any.
No. If I believe if the sewer is within distance where she can hook up to it, she would have to hook up to it.
Okay, so this would only apply to someone wishing to build in an area within the city limits where the sewer is not available.
Correct.
Okay.
Which, as we just showed, is pretty minimal. We've got, what, about 1,000 water meters out, so we've got about 1,000 people using sewer. We got just a couple that pay the water but don't have the sewer. So,
The one, the IEBC existing buildings, that's the one that Meyerhoff was in and talked to us about, right?
yes.
Okay. I like the Committee of 12, that's a good name. I told James I was gonna call it the Justice League. But Committee of 12, that sounds pretty good too,
Yeah.
kinda ominous. Any questions, because this is just discussion or information.
I think I would just make a note for anybody that sees this and is concerned about certain things maybe that are in 2024 versus where we are now, that just because we adopt 2024, if that's where we end up, and it appears that that's where we're headed, doesn't mean that we adopt everything within that. I mean, initially, yes, we would, but we have the ability to opt out of sections or different areas inside of there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, correct me if I'm wrong here, James or Brian, but that's the next steps of the committee, is now to go through and look at what do we want to opt out of and say, yeah, this probably doesn't make sense for Marion. So for anybody that's watching that might have a concern, just because we might be going to 2024 doesn't mean that we are adopting that entire code.
Absolutely,
No
yeah.
questions
Right.
asked.
Yeah.
And anyone that's watching would like to, who's on the Committee of 12 is not a secret. If they
Yeah.
want to talk to one of them about it or all of them about it, call the city office and
Yeah.
they can have a list of their names.
Absolutely. And we got a lot of vendors on 9, well, not 9 vendors, but pretty close to that, 7, 8, 9. They all wanted to go with 21 or 24 because they're already doing that everywhere else. And for them, it's just easier to be consistent. So,
The reality is for a lot of the contractors, yes, there's a few in Marion that don't go outside of Marion city limits, but a lot of them are doing work outside of Marion and are meeting or exceeding a lot of this code already, probably.
yeah.
Well, James has told me that there are certain things in some of these codes that probably wouldn't be appropriate here, or that he wouldn't have heartburn with if we opted out of. So, but that's one of the main reasons I wanted to have that committee, is somebody who can talk intelligently about it.
Mhm. Well, I guess with your permission, we would like, based on these results, to go to order what we can of the 2024 code books, even if just in PDF form, because they're kind of pricey, and just start doing the amendment review.
You know, the committee can start working on that, and then we can maybe get a meeting set up and get together and.
Zach, you're on the committee, right?
Mhm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that anybody's gonna push back on, I mean, the results are what they are. I mean, I'll be upfront, I didn't vote for 2024, and I mean, it's fine. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, in looking at
And
this.
really, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, in looking at it, 2021 was 50-50.
Right.
And my thought was, well, if it's 50-50, and the other, below that, then it drops to 2278. What I read in that was that pretty much everybody there thought it ought to be 21 or above.
Yes.
And 21 is such a leap forward from where we are.
Yeah.
You know, you could sell me on 21 or 24 pretty easily.
And in the research that I've done, and I think, James, you've talked about this too, 24, I don't want to necessarily use the term less restrictive, but there's areas of it that they backed off on some stuff in 24 verse 21 to where they did it in 21 and then in 24 it was like, ooh, that actually doesn't make sense or that doesn't work. So I think
Right.
in terms of contractors and some of that stuff that we've talked about even with Mr. Meyerhoff, 24, if you're looking at 24 to 21, 24 is the way to go if you're only looking at those two.
Right.
And I think that's what the results of this thing say.
Okay.
And it's one of the other things I saw also, what they did with the 24 was they defined it better, because sometimes the code can be very difficult to understand, and so they spent a little more time in defining what the code was and stuff.
Yeah, one of the committee members mentioned that the 24 code is a little easier to read and reference than the 21 as well. So they cleaned up some of that, makes it a little easier to process. You had
The information, the book, like $500 or something? I'm trying to remember what you told me previously.
For a set of code books.
Yeah.
To order a set of what we're kind of looking at here, maybe minus the sewer one, we're probably looking at a little over $1,000 a set.
Well, the only reason I ask that is, this is on for discussion tonight, and I get it that if we, you guys, if you're gonna, if we order those books now, it's only on for discussion, and then we come back in another meeting or two meetings and say, no, we've had all this overwhelming information from people in the city saying, we think 21's the way to go or something, we will have wasted the money. It's kind of, in other words, I don't think we should do it unless we're pretty darn sure we're gonna be actually voting for 24 next meeting or two.
I would
When's the
agree.
next-
Yeah.
When is the next, do we have the next committee meeting set up?
We do not. We've
Okay.
kind of been
So
waiting on.
Kind of waiting for this to resolve
Waiting
itself.
on
Your
this here.
recommendation would be to wait basically 2 weeks?
Unless we're pretty darn certain we're gonna go with.
And
I mean, I don't think at this point that another 2 weeks can hurt anything.
No, I think we're kind of ahead of schedule.
Well, we've
Ultimately.
waited 20 years at this point.
Right.
One advantage to ordering the books is a way to order the book paper copy, which we have to have 3 of by rule. It comes with PDFs also, so the review committee can look at the PDF
Oh,
versions.
good, yeah.
Yeah, as long as they're not copying, using it for their own private use, they can use it in conjunction with the committee. So that way, we're not buying paper copies for everybody, because that would get prohibitive after a
We
while.
can have Janet copy them off.
Don't say that.
Didn't hear that.
We won't make you do that, Janet.
That was mumbled, Mayor, I think.
Is that copyright violation?
Yeah. Anyway, so then, yeah, I'd say in 2 weeks, we kind of need to know which of the codes you don't do or don't want on the list. I mean, obviously, the private sewer one would be helpful, but there's not a huge demand for that.
Right.
So, if you were gonna try to cut one, that might be the way to go. But you can see the preference for the others are pretty high. The fire is a big one. That helps our fire department immensely. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you-
The sewer one used to be in the plumbing code. It used to be, the plumbing code was split in half, and the sewer, it was one book. I don't know why, maybe they're making a little more revenue, but we could certainly do without the sewer one.
James, one I just realized that I don't see on here is electrical.
Well, we have electrical code now, right?
I thought it was on there, but apparently it's not.
Or
Um,
plumbing. Or does
Well-
plumbing doesn't fall into mechanical, does it?
No, I think that we was gonna adopt the year behind the I
For-
codes, okay, for electrical.
Right.
And we didn't put all the code books on there, we just put the ones on there that we didn't already have, that this city does not use right now. Like, we don't use the existing building code, we're not using the fire code, or
I
the
got
fuel and
you. Okay,
gas.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Or the
I'm
mechanical
tracking.
code.
Yep.
We had a
These would be
10-question limit
additions.
for free.
Yeah.
I can do another survey.
Okay, I'm tracking. So the intent is still to adopt those other codes,
Yes.
plumbing, electrical. They just aren't new. I mean, yes, they'll be new, but we already have them in place now.
Right,
And so
right.
they'll just follow along with what the building code
Yeah.
is.
Right, yeah, they'll just be updates.
Well presented, appreciate it. I think, I think also it'd be better when we do this to have a full council or
That's
at
fine.
least closer to a full council.
All right, so
okay.
we'll table until next meeting.
April
Okay.
6th.
Thank you.
Sure.
And thank you, James.
Thank you.
We'll move to you, Brian, about billboards.
Yes, with the new city logo, there's opportunities to use that. One of the opportunities is to rehabilitate the billboards that advertise the city of Marion. We have one that was destroyed by wind out at the Highway 56 and the road that goes to the reservoir. And then we're also in bad shape. The KDOT pointed that out to us. We have to have it fixed by the end of the year at the one over roughly at the east side of 256 and Highway 77. In the materials, get caught up to that. You got a list of all the locations where they're at. The sign that got blown down out by the reservoir, that's an old picture, just to show you what it did look like. And then there's some artwork generated by Megan for potential. The signs are all 8 by 12 feet.
Not all of them,
They're not all 8 by 12? Oh, okay.
some that 8 by 16.
8 by 16, okay. So we
Some of
have,
some of our current signs?
I know they're not all 8 by 12. This was a big, is that the only one?
yeah, we didn't include the one from up by Dollar General on 56 because it's in town. We were looking at the one that's outside of town.
Yeah.
That one's in reasonably good shape at the moment,
Yeah, that's within a year or two old. Yeah.
and I think it
Yeah.
is larger. Yeah.
I think we're just talking about the 5 that are
Yeah.
almost square.
Close to that anyway, yeah. So, there was a request to involve Medi, the group, in the discussion of this, which we can do to their next meeting.
Medi, the group is like Portugal, the man. That's a band, Margot. So, I really would like to have MEDI involved in this. That's kind of part of their charge. And the 3 options down there, Megan had talked about wanting to not wanting necessarily, but thinking about keeping the existing signs and just having that size. I personally don't think that they're big enough. I think you could double them pretty easily. There's 2 posts, you add a 3rd post and double the size, or maybe go 2/3 bigger. But in any event, I also think that there's room, if you look at those, on either side, like the one that says 5 miles and it points. The other side's completely blank on the bigger one. You could put a rhino silhouette there. You could put something else. You want to make them too busy, but there's room. Anyway, I just think that there is something of a rush on this, but not really. We've got enough time to let the group that exists for this, partly this kind of thing, give us some input. That's what I'm suggesting, if you guys are okay with that. Okay?
I mean, yeah, we have 2 that, one we have to replace per KDOT, excuse me, wrong state. And then, well, the other one that doesn't really exist out there at the reservoir. So there's really 2 I'd like to see get done this year. And then we can upgrade the others, even if we do them every other month or something. We did get 1 bid back in. We're trying to get other bids for the cost of that. Yeah, until I get those, I don't want to mention the bid I already have.
So the plan would be to put, if you look at the one that Chingawasadays controls over at Walton, that's just, I don't know what the substance of it is, but that thing, you put it up, and after 2 or 3 months, it starts to deteriorate pretty badly. So this would be a more permanent solution to some extent. Not really permanent, but longer lasting. Also, I talked to Megan about, we need to talk to our landowners before we could change the size of the sign, we need to make sure they're okay with it. And KDOT would have to approve it as well. And if something doesn't change with regard to Highway 50 and Sunflower, I would like to at least float the possibility that we think about moving where our sign's located. So that's how it is in the sign industry today.
In talking to Megan, she got the rules on what KDOT does for your signs, and there's not a lot of prohibitive size, but the larger, the more they charge you for the permit. So.
No, that didn't seem, she showed me that, I do not remember, it wasn't really high though.
It wasn't terrible, but no, but it's, you know, increased cost of materials, permit. I mean, we'll break all those down as soon as you get an idea which size you want to do. We'll get you some price estimates. Once we get the vendors all responding, we can give you a good price list to choose from with sample artwork.
Thank you.
Sure.
City financial software review.
Yeah, I'm not quite finished with work on that yet, so I need to punt on that one to a later date. I've got one vendor with the information. I need to get some on the current vendor and potentially a third vendor also that we've identified. So once I get some more information on that, I'll bring it back to you.
Okay. And you can't get off the hook quite that easily. Next up, city employee wage proposal.
Correct. At the last meeting, we mentioned that the budget has allowance for 6% increase for salary for city employees that have been here a year or more. I coming back with the option that was in, I gotta reread what I sent you here. Nope, I don't have it in there. Okay, the option is to look at it as a cost of living increase split with a merit split. We don't have a merit program prepared yet. I've got it on my table, on my desk, and we've had some discussions with some of the department heads about what that could look like, and they provided samples of things that they've used in the past and think would be good. Talked about goal setting for the supervisor and for the employee as well, to set some of their own goals to help with their development. So the recommendation is 3% for cost of living, and then I have estimate, or I have commitments from the department heads and what they'd like to do with the other 3%, between another 1%, 2%, or 3%, depending on their current level of work. But if you want us to do a more in-depth review first, then we can do that. We just won't have it today. Typically, increases start with the first pay period for April, that ends in April. And I asked why, and it's because we've always done it that way. So doesn't mean it can't be different next year, but that's what it's been.
I'll jump in. The merit pay has been addressed. Kevin in particular has brought it up previously. I do not object to discussion of that, perhaps implementation of a component of merit within our city system. But I truly believe that if you're gonna do that, you better have a tool in place that you have great confidence in terms of how you're gonna determine that merit.
Yeah.
And I remember the county used to do merit, and they ended up going away from it because there was too many problems about, well, there are two of us in this office, and this one got a raise and this one didn't, or this one got a double raise and that one. And the argument would be, well, the boss just likes that one better than me, or whatever. I think that to get away from that, you have to have something where you can look at various, here's what we're judging you on, and I would like to see it that there's some period of time that it's based on, that we do it quarterly, do a quarterly eval, a mini eval, and then a major eval at the end of the year that determines then the basis. And I don't think we're ready to do that yet. My proposal would be, however, because Kevin is very interested in merit, and maybe others, but I know he is, I don't wanna rule that out, so my thought would be that we approve the 3% cost of living and come back and do the merit discussion. If we decide we're gonna go with merit, then we can do whatever that requires us to do. If we don't decide to implement merit right now, I don't think there's anything that prevents us from saying we're going to up that cost of living. It would only go in effect at the next, we miss a pay period or two. But we could still come back and say, okay, now we're gonna add 1, 2, 3, whatever.
I like that.
I do too.
We can
Cool
do
with
that. Yeah, we'll have to put our nose on the grindstone a little more and generate the rest of that. I've been in a couple different merit situations in my life, well, more than a couple probably, but I've seen some that work pretty good, and I've seen some that are just plain out disasters, the way they're written, and very difficult to understand. I don't want to go that route. I want to keep it simple, and that's why we really want to see the team member have the opportunity to help set their own goals.
Right.
And those that want to grow and do more in their role are going to do that. The ones that are pretty happy doing what they're doing right now and are okay, that may be their goal too, and that's all right. If they're here and they're producing, then again, I won't complain. But we want to give people the chance to chase the carrot a bit at their own initiative.
We all do this. I'm used to what we did in the judicial branch, and the department head did the evaluations for everyone in the department. And they did it quarterly, and they did it and it was done. Then at the end of the year, the court administrator then did one for all the department heads. And I did one for the court administrator. But every evaluation came through, in this case, it would be Brian. So you could see, okay, here's this person in this department, and wow, they're just getting graded off the scale, great, or whoa, they're low. You just kind of pay attention to that sort of thing. But I definitely, I don't think that we have an obligation to start merit pay this year. But I have no objection if you want to put together a plan and show it to the whole council and decide to do it, that's great. But if not, we can still, we've got percentages we can still add on if we wish to do so.
And part of that will be a self-evaluation for the team member as well.
Are we done with that?
Well, you probably need action on the first portion.
Oh, yeah, you sure do.
That'd be our request, yes.
Okay, do we want to do that?
Go for it.
Okay, I would move that we, at this time, approve a 3% cost of living wage increase. And I think, Brian, that as a cost of I'm gonna move a 3% cost of living increase. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. In way of discussion, Brian, I believe that you had done some research with regard to cost of living, rate of inflation, that sort of thing. And it was coming in at 2.8 or something like that.
Yeah, it was, and 3%'s enough to get a little boost by inflation. If you throw out the COVID years, it's pretty consistent.
The one thing that I'll just mention for now, and we can talk about it more next time we deal with this, is we have, our wages or our salaries, our wages, have been on the low side compared to our comparable entities. So just matching cost of living isn't getting us caught up
Right.
with our competitors. So that's something we should think about when we decide what else we want to do down the road. Anything from you guys?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That's
With
good.
regard to the 3% cost of living increase, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Ayes have it unanimously.
We'll bring back, hopefully by the end of April, we'll bring back a working merit plan to let you review.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it unanimously. Nays are not here. James, I'll expect some information from you on the appropriate number of goats in a given area.